My name is John Miller. I'm a documentary filmmaker and the owner of a small production company up in the foothills near Fort Collins, Colorado. I've been interested in Mount Everest for a long time, I think ever since I was in 5th or 6th grade, and I wrote a report on Sir Edmund Hillary. My adult relationship with Everest began in the fall of 2002, when I met a young professional climber named Ben Clark. At 23 years old, Ben had already summited South America's Aconcagua, Africa's Kilimanjaro, and expeditioned on Mount McKinley and Nepal's Dhaulagiri. Of course, this was all in addition to several Western Hemisphere volcanoes and countless ascents of Colorado 14ers and paid climbs up Mount Rainier. In October of 2002, my friend Major asked if I would be interested in assisting him to edit some footage he had shot. Of course, I jumped at the chance. Major was the Northern Colorado Bureau photographer for Denver's ABC affiliate, and once every year, he produced a news feature on climbing a mountain. That fall, he had decided to focus on an Everest-bound Colorado State University student named Ben Clark. The two climbed 14,267-foot Torrey's Peak, and the resulting story aired throughout Colorado and its surrounding states. The feature was very well received, especially by Ben. Not long after, he and I began to discuss just what it would take to document, on video, his upcoming ascent of Everest. Well, one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I was on a plane with Major and Ben, heading for Kathmandu, Nepal. I was heading for Everest. The spring of 2003 was not a very comfortable time for international travel, especially to Asia. The war in Iraq was less than a month old, and there was this mysterious illness called SARS causing quite a scare. Within the climbing community, you often hear that just getting to Everest is half of the battle. Well, I had always thought that referred to the physical act of walking or trekking, but it turns out it's as much about missing luggage, canceled flights, unexpected permit fees, and an American war and freaky respiratory illness thrown in for good measure. Well, the expedition lasted for 2 full months and was without a doubt the adventure of my life. Throughout everything, my cameras were rolling. The climb was successful, and our team of Lawang, Lakpa, and Ben made it to the summit and back down again safely. Over the course of the following year, I was pretty much a shut-in as Ben and I waited through all of the footage from the expedition, and I edited together the first version of the film. On May 22, 2004, the first anniversary of Summit Day, we held a screening of the film, Everest, The Other Side. The entire premise of the film was to show as many of the positive aspects of climbing the mountain as possible, and the audience really found our take on the mountain refreshing. That first screening was a huge success, and I have to tell you, a lot of fun. Well, from spring 2004 until spring 2005, we showed the film to anyone who would watch it. And after squeezing in a successful month-long expedition to Aconcagua in Argentina, I recut Everest The Other Side to incorporate all of the great feedback I'd received. In May 2005, the film was premiered nationally on pay-per-view. In 1 week, the film was purchased over 4,000 times. Obviously, people were interested in Everest. To give you a short glimpse of the experience, here's how the first few minutes of the film turned out.
At 29,035 feet, Mount Everest is the tallest mountain on the Earth. Every year, hundreds of people from all over the world dream of standing on its lofty summit. At 19, American climber Ben Clark shared that dream, that desire to test his skills against the mountain's northern flanks. After an exhausting 4 years of preparation, spanning hundreds of climbs over 5 continents, Ben knew it was time to face Everest.
For so long, I've worked towards this, and that no matter what, despite what everyone, wanted me to do or everyone thought I should have done, that I finally stuck with it and just picked that direction and headed there.
In the spring of 2003, the now 23-year-old climber traveled halfway around the globe to see if he had what it takes to stand on top of the planet. to see if he had the right stuff.
You start focusing on the intricate details of the climb, and you quit focusing on how am I ever going to get there. And that's the point. Everest begins to become a challenge and a problem in details less than it is in logistics of getting here. Now it's about physically what is it going to take, and can I pull that out of myself.
On May 22nd, after 38 days on Everest, Ben and his team departed the high camp at 27,000 feet for their push to the summit. As they climbed, a fierce storm began to rage above them.
If you think that everything is always just going to be smooth and run like clockwork, then who the hell are you? And what kind of candy land do you live in? Because if you can just get over the fact that not everything is going to work your way and you just get on with it, then hell, things will work out.
At 9 a.m., in swirling winds, sub-zero temperatures, and a complete whiteout, Ben and his two teammates stood where so few have stood before, the summit of Mount Everest.
Keep talking, I can hear you loud and clear, over.
Summited about 9 o'clock Nepali time. Man, it was the hardest thing I think I've ever done in my life.
It was the culmination of years of preparation and planning, of expense and sacrifice, of pain and discomfort. And it lasted no more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Why? Why would anyone struggle for so many years to achieve something so fleeting, so painful?
There's just this appreciation that you feel for life and for living. No matter how experienced you are, no matter what you think, you either can or you cannot up there. And if you can, then you have to be so thankful just by being there and looking around and seeing it, that you are there. That it's the most fortunate experience, I think, of a lifetime, to be able to be in a place like that, surrounded by so much beauty. It's just an absolute privilege that's worth striking out and dedicating part of your life to.
Everest will always be a challenge. Those who go there will always have a story to tell. Still, there are two sides to every story. For some, it will be of conquest and danger. For many, it is the whole other side.
The problem editing and re-editing the film is that the final version can't possibly incorporate everything that happened on the trip. All told, I returned from Everest with over 80 hours of tape of the expedition. The final cut of the film totaled just 84 minutes. Average that out, and it appears that only 1 minute of every hour that I filmed made it into the finished version. Well, this is a problem that every single film made about Everest suffers from. How in the world can you compress an experience as large as Everest into 90 minutes, or 60 minutes, or 45 minutes? Well, you can't. You can only show a small part of the experience. Well, podcasting, especially video podcasting, is going to change all of that. The tagline for Everest the Other Side is because the depth of the experience is greater than the height of the mountain. Finally, we're going to be able to show the full depth of this experience. Over the coming months, I'll be editing sections of footage together and then watching them with Ben and other people involved with the expedition. I'll be recording our commentary to the footage so you can get all of the stories right from the people who experienced it firsthand. It won't always be exciting, and I can guarantee there will be a lot of bad hair days. But it will be true to the expedition experience, and it will always be entertaining. You've probably seen some of what it's like to climb Everest. Well, this is the rest. This is the rest of Everest.